What are the benefits of flying to Jupiter? And what would one expect to find at the end of such a long journey? In 1989, the space probe Galileo made the long journey through the vacuum of space, eventually destined to be destroyed in Jupiter's gaseous surface. This probe answers these questions and could unlock questions and secrets that we haven't even thought to investigate. The 1989 Galileo probe mission took a 14-year-long trip in order to take photos and send information about Jupiter, Io, and Europa. The first 3 years of this 14-year journey were spent trying to gain speed in order to leave Earth's gravitational pull. At the end of those 14 years, the Galileo probe was intentionally destroyed. According to Dr. Claudia Alexander, who was one of the scientists responsible for this destruction, the probe was flown directly into the gaseous surface of Jupiter in order to avoid contaminating the surfaces of Io and Europa with earthly bacteria and organisms. Similarly to Galileo, the Juno space probe mission was launched in 2011, representing a more modern attempt to take photos and send information to NASA about Europa, Io, and Jupiter. I'd like to discuss the surfaces of Europa, Io, and Jupiter, and their atmospheres, and discuss the possibility of extraterrestrial life on these planets. Firstly, the surface of Io. This planet is completely volcanic. It represents perhaps the most concentrated volcanic area in the galaxy. The volcanic activity is caused by Jupiter's massive gravitational pull, which generates tidal energy, affecting the tectonic plates on Io, and causing massive heat exchanges, resulting in volcanic activity. Additionally, Jupiter's magnetic field soaks the surface of this planet in radiation in doses that are enough to be lethal to a human in about 5 minutes if they're unprotected. The equator line of Io may flex up to 100 meters when it is acted upon by these tidal energies. Secondly, the surface of Europa. The surface of Europa is an uninterrupted ice sheet that may be as much as 5 kilometers to 50 kilometers thick. According to Dr. Robert Pappalardo, the gravitational pull of Jupiter affects this planet similarly, but not quite as drastically as Io. In that way, according to Dr. Robert Pappalardo, the gravitational pull may cause cracks in the ice that covers Europa at a speed of about as fast as a human can walk. Europa represents one of the best hopes for extraterrestrial life in our galaxy. Finally, the surface and atmosphere of Jupiter. The outer atmosphere of Jupiter is comprised of ammonia gas, and the planetary surface, if you will, is created out of helium and hydrogen. Because of this gaseous substance, Jupiter is actually undetectable by radar, which is radio detection and ranging. Scientists using this instrument to map the surfaces of planets have found that when they use it on Jupiter, it simply appears as a massive void where a planet should be. The Galileo space probe was destroyed intentionally, but its destruction provided a helpful lesson for NASA scientists. When it was flown into Jupiter's surface, it remained in contact with NASA for over 100 miles into the atmosphere before it finally disintegrated, and due to the immense heat and pressures of the planet, evaporated in that area. But on the way, it captured photos and information about the upper atmosphere of the planet. Behind the ammonia fog that covers the upper atmosphere, there is water clouds. Scientists hoped that extraterrestrial life may be found in this area as a sweet spot between the sulfurous and ammonia gases at the upper atmosphere and the helium and hydrogen that comprises the surface. Unfortunately, their hopes were dashed when the probe, already 100 miles deep into the surface, found absolutely no sign of complex life of any kind, no complex molecules even. This leaves the surfaces of Europa, which is perhaps, as I said, the most likely shot at extraterrestrial life. Europa's icy surface covers a vast saltwater ocean. Scientists hope that perhaps this saltwater ocean may mimic the Earth's own oceans. As such, they theorize that thermal vents found at the base of the ocean, at the very planet's core even, may cause heat exchanges which heat the water around them and may allow tiny microscopic life to exist at this level. According to Dr. Bill Stone, the only life found here would be microscopic, and it would have to be explored by a robotic and artificially intelligent diver. Apart from Mars, Europa is really the only shot at finding extraterrestrial life, as it's the only other planet that we know of that has mass quantities of salt water, such as it does. And so the benefits of traveling to Jupiter become clear. We can learn amazing lessons from taking photos and sending information from these probes. And although they cost NASA and other space companies billions and billions of dollars in order to carry out, they may unlock secrets that we have not even begun to explore.